Hey guys, very good evening. How are you? So just send me a shout out. I can see there are already 500 plus waiting for this exciting session. So how are you guys? I hope you are able to hear me, see me on the screen. Good evening. Good evening to all our friends. Hi. Lot of you are present for today's session, right? So we are doing this session exclusively for you guys, all those who have got the link. I welcome you all to the session. Okay, so I hope after today's session you will be able to build your own spin and win game for your website, for your college project, or for any for fun also. Okay, and we are also going to conduct one competition, so we will see who is going to make the best project. Okay, so I'm going to give you a 2 day 3 day deadline to complete this project by yourself. Firstly, I will go with the implementation. I will show you what concepts are needed, how to write the code, and then we will ask everyone to submit their project. Okay, so be very attentive during this session, and yeah, I hope you will learn a lot of new cool stuff today. Okay, so anything you want to ask before we begin? Anything you would like to ask before we start the session? uh, Otherwise I will just, okay, so how many of you are uh, familiar with JavaScript? Okay, and or how many of you are not having any idea of programming and JavaScript? बिल्कुल भी idea नहीं है. Okay. क्या हाल है सर? सब बढ़िया है आदित्य. Which languages are required? So programming language, कोई भी एक programming language you should know. Okay, any one programming language. And software I will tell you. Okay, after the webinar you can try out these things on your own. I will share the code, I will share the assets. Okay, okay, little bit familiarity with programming is okay, and I will give you quick idea about JavaScript, and then we can start building our project. Okay, okay, I know coding but no JavaScript. Okay, duration of the session, it's going to be around 2 hours. Okay, maybe one, at least one hour. Okay, 1 to 2 hours. Okay, great, great. Okay. So will it be fine if we conduct the session in English, or you guys want me to explain everything in Hindi? Okay. So I don't know how many people are from uh, how many people do not understand Hindi. If there are people who do not understand Hindi, then I will keep it in English. Otherwise, we can keep it English plus Hindi. Okay. Hi, Sachin. Okay. ओके गाइस, ग्रेट. सो जहाँ पे आपको थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट लगेगा, आई विल ट्राई टू रिपीट द सेम थिंग इन हिंदी, बट आई विल गो विद इंग्लिश फर्स्ट. बट जहाँ पे आपको डिफिकल्ट लगेगा, यू टेल मी, आई विल एक्सप्लेन दैट पार्ट इन हिंदी ऑल्सो. ओके, गुजराती आई डोंट नो. ओके, so most of the session will be in English so that everyone is able to understand. But yeah, some point where you find it difficult to understand, I will try to explain that part in Hindi also. Okay. Okay, fine. So let's begin with the session, and let me share my screen also. Okay, guys, let me give you a bit idea about how do you make web apps. Okay, so when we talk about web development, okay, so there are two major components. Okay, so if you want to make some web app, so there could be a web app which only has a front end. There could be a web app which also has a back end. Okay, so there are two main components in web. One is your front end part, okay, and one is your back end part. So any examples of apps which require a backend? For example, apps like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they all are web apps, okay, but they also have a backend. So backend means there are servers which are running and there is some computation that is going on. For example, if you make a post, then that post goes to the server. That post gets stored in the database, and there are some apps which try to create a newsfeed for you. Okay, so front end means there is only a static website. Okay, for example, uh, a website which only has a UI, it does not have a lot of functionality. Okay, so front end is written using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and on backend also you have lot of functionality. Okay, so let's say you have servers, you have DBMS system to manage your data, and you can have additional stuff such as load balancers and all that stuff. Okay, but servers are also nothing but it's their computers that are running bunch of functions. For example, if you log into, let's say, LinkedIn. Okay, so what do? You log in from your front end. That data, user ID and password, that is going to a server, okay, LinkedIn server, and that server will verify your details and it will give you a response. Okay, so you make a request to the server, and in return you get a response. Okay, so this is how a basic web architecture works. You have a client, you have a server. Client will request data to the server, and server will give you some response. Okay, so this is how the basic web works. Okay, and in spin and win also, if you talk about spin and win that we are doing on coding blocks website, you will find that there is a front end component. Okay, and there is a back end component which is making calculations, what coupons to use. Okay, and when will the coupon expire, or what prizes have been won by each user. Okay, so all this data goes on the back end. Okay, and spin now button is on the front end. Since I don't have any spins, I can't show you how to spin it. You can try it yourself. But what we will try today, we will try to build the front end part for the spin and win, and you will be able to spin the wheel. You will be able to get some prize. Okay, you will be able to see what prize you have won, and if you know backend, you can also connect this app with the backend as well. Okay, so that's what I was telling you. So we are going to build the front end part of spin and win. Okay, so I will show you how to make these cool animations using JavaScript. So we will focus on front end part of spin and win. So when we talk about front end, as I said, we would be working with little bit of HTML. We would need some CSS, maybe not, and we will need some JS also. Okay, so HTML part is very less, CSS part is very less. The most part is about the functionality. Okay, so functionality that we will build is using JavaScript and Phaser. Okay, so I will show you how to use this. This is a framework. Okay, so Phaser is a framework for building games. Using very less lines of code, you can build it. Okay. Okay, so let's start by writing some code, little bit of HTML only. Okay, so I hope everyone has done little bit of HTML. So HTML is a markup language for defining structure of the web. Okay, so let me give the head and the body part. Okay, and here I can give some title to my page. Okay, let's say spin and win. Okay, spin and win workshop. So the ID that I'm using is brackets. Okay, so the ID that I'm using is brackets, and let me just tell you what does HTML do. So HTML is gives you a structure, okay, and CSS is for styling, and JS is for functionality. Okay, so everything that we are going to build in the Spin and Win app is more about functionality. Okay, so the ID that I'm using, this ID, this software that I'm using is brackets. Okay, this is what I'm using. Okay. You can download it from the brackets website also. So you can just go and download and install. It's a open source editor, and you can install it. You can work with multiple files. Okay. So there is one benefit of it that we will see. Okay. हाँ, मैं आपको फेजर के बारे में बताऊंगा, डोंट वरी, वी विल डिस्कस फेजर. ओके, सो अभी बिल्कुल स्टार्ट किया, कुछ नहीं है. लेट अस जस्ट सी हाउ टू रन जावास्क्रिप्ट कोड यूजिंग वेब ब्राउजर. ओके, लेट मी शो यू. Okay, so the script tag is basically it's required to write some code in JavaScript. For example, if you want to create a variable, you can select a equals to 10, you can select b equals to 20, and if you want to output something, you will use the statement called console.log, and maybe you can do a plus b. Okay, so basic simple JavaScript code. And if I want to run this file on my web browser, I will click this button on the right hand side. It's live preview button. You can see it will open up a web page. The web page will not have any content, but you can see it creates a local server on which my web page is running. Okay, so this live preview button will actually help you to create a local server, and on this web page is going to run. उसका भी एक reason है. I will tell you later on why I'm using a local server to create this. And what you need to do, if you need to see your output, you can go to right click, go to inspect, and go to console. Okay, you can see this output is 30. You can see here. Okay, so this is the output 30 that we have got, and you can also check all your variables from the console. If I print a, so you can see a is having a value 10. If I print b, b is going to have a value 20. Okay, and you can see a plus b, it's going to be 30. Okay, okay, so this is how you can execute code using JavaScript. Okay, but what you can do, you can also create a new file. So what I will do, in my same directory, I will just show you my directory structure, what files I already have. So I have a folder called Spin and Win Webinar, and I have a folder called Assets. Okay, so these are the images that I'm going to use. I will share you all the assets. Okay, yes, you can execute this through local servers. You can use Python or Node.js to create a local server as well. Okay, and let me open up this. Okay, guys, I'm just going to tell you how you can open up a folder using brackets. You can go to File, you can go to Open Folder, and on your desktop, I have this folder Spin and Win Webinar. I'm just going to open a folder. Okay, so in this folder, I have a folder called Assets, and I have a file called phaser.js. Okay, and if you want to create a new file, you can just right click, and you can say, okay, create a new file. let me just call this as index.html. You can give it any name. Okay, so this is what I have shown you. So what we will do, we will create a new file and we will call it as game.js, or give it any name. Okay, you can just put your code. So instead of putting the JavaScript code in the HTML file, what we will do, we will put the code in a different file. Okay, we will put this code in the game.js file. So you can see, so we are going to create a separate file for our game. Okay, and if you want to include this file, what do you need to do, you need to use this property script src equals to game.js, and you need to close the script tab. Okay, so that's all what you need to do till now. So we have just created a file called game.js, and when your HTML document will load, it will execute this JavaScript code. Okay, so let a equals to 20. So let is like it helps you to create local variables. Okay, so let is a statement that will help you to create a local variable. You can even create a variable of this type. So let me run the code again. Sorry, using the live preview button. Okay. So you can see the output is 30.5. Okay. Okay, let's do a few things. Let us discuss how games are built and how to run a game. Okay. So basically, whenever you see a cool game running on your screen, let's say there is a Mario game that you have on your screen, there is a something like this, there is a cartoon character, okay, or something like this, or there is a bird. So what happens when you play a game? Okay, so in most of the games, you can see your screen is continuously changing. So when you make a game, you can see your screen is continuously changing. Okay. Okay, so that means in order to change our UI, what you need to do, you need to make updates on the screen. Okay, so for example, if this bird is moving up and down, so that means you need to change the y coordinate of this bird. Okay, so let's say the bird is flying at some coordinate x comma y. Then what you need to do, if you want this bird to move up and down, so yeah, so what you need to do, you need to say, okay, I will change the y position of the bird according to the some logic. Okay, so you need to change, let's say, the y coordinate according to some logic. Okay, and whenever you create a game, so what you can say is there are bunch of objects on the game screen. Okay, so game screen is nothing but a bunch of objects. For example, one object could be bird, one object could be player, one object could be your platform, one object could be your background or sky or something, and each object will have different properties. Okay, so each object will have different properties. For example, can you tell me some properties of the bird object that we can have in this game? Can you guess what properties this bird will have? Let's say x coordinate is a property, y coordinate, let's say color, or let's say what is the speed of the bird. Okay, so we can assign different properties. Okay, so console.log prints to the console. If you want something to be written on the document, you can say document.write. So this entire web page is your document. So someone asked how to create something on the web page, so we will need to do DOM manipulation. Okay, so this entire thing is a document. I'm saying, okay, write some text on the document. So instead of doing this, I can also write a document.write hello world. Okay, that comes under DOM manipulation. I will not go into that, but yeah, you can just see. Okay, I'm just teaching you basics of JavaScript. So if you want to create some function, let's say, okay. Okay, so before we go into functions, let's see, if you want to start a game. Okay, if you want to start a game in which you have a bird which is going to fly. So what you will do, you will have some image of the bird. So you will have some assets. So in the assets folder, you can see there will be some images. So first step would be, whenever you are going to load an image, okay, so you have a client, you have a server, and suppose you want to play a game on your system, but that is an online game. So when you build a game, so what it happens is, the client will first ask server to give you all the assets. Okay, you will ask, okay, give me the assets, and server will give you the assets required to build that game. Okay, so first step would be to load assets of the game. So that means you want to load assets like images, sounds, okay, and any other fonts that are required to render that particular game. So all those are first loaded. So we should have a function like a function load assets. Okay, next step would be, you need to create objects. What elements would be part of your game screen? So second step would be to create objects. Okay, so you would like to create some objects on the screen. The next step would be to, okay, so once you have created those objects won't be static. You need to update those objects using some logic. Okay, for example, once you have loaded the image, you need to draw it. That means you need to create it, and then you need to update it continuously. So you need to make continuous updates. So you need a function that is going on and on until the game is not over. So update continuously till game is not over. Okay, till the game is not over. Okay, so to build any game, you will generally require these three steps. Okay, so we will build these three functions for the spin and win game. Okay, so is it clear, the three major steps that we are going to build? Is it clear? Okay, any doubts in this? So क्या करना है, images को load करना है, you need to create those objects on the screen, and you need to update those objects according to the game logic. Okay, so updates will depend upon game logic. So whatever is the logic of the game, for example, in our spin and win game, the wheel will get an update, the wheel will spin when user clicks mouse or clicks some button, something like that. Okay, so updates will happen according to the game logic. Any doubts till now? So these are the three steps that we will follow to build our game. Okay, zoom. So I think screen size is good, but still, if you guys want, I can try. Is it fine? Link of objects. Okay, so I will give you the link of objects. Okay, so we have assets folder. This has different images. Okay, there is a background image, there is a pin image, there is a stand image, there is a wheel image. Okay, so it's an old wheel. You can, what you can do is, you can also go to online coding blocks. If you want to pick some images from the website, you can go right click and try to copy the assets as well. Okay, you can copy or save image, something like this you can also do. Okay, so if I just save this image, otherwise I will give you the link for the assets as well. Okay, so you go to assets, you can say, okay, spin and win logo, you save it. GitHub I will share. Okay, so GitHub I will give you the link of spin and win assets, all the JavaScript code. Okay, and before that, thoda sa basics pe we are working on. So let's see how to create objects in JavaScript. Okay, so let's see how to create objects in JS. So those who are coming from C++, Python backgrounds, so they will find it a bit odd. So in JavaScript, you can actually create objects without defining the class. Okay, so there are both ways. You can define a class. Just give us the Git repo for it. Yes, I will give you. Okay, so let me create a Git repo during the session only. So I will give you, don't worry. Let me write some code, then I will give you the link for the repo. Okay, so in the JavaScript, you can also create objects without defining the class. Okay, for example, if I want to create a bird object, so I can select bird, and this is how you create an object. So this bird is nothing but an object. Let me show you. I go to console. Okay, let me So I go to inspect element and I go to console and I just type bird. So what is bird? You can see bird is an object. Okay, so bird is an object here. Okay, so using these curly brackets you can create objects, but you can also define some attributes for the bird. For example, you want to give some x coordinate for the bird. You can say, okay, x is 100, y is, let's say, 200. So what will happen here? You can just see. If I type bird, you can see bird is an object that has a property called x coordinate. It has a property called y coordinate. And if you want to access the x property, you can do it by using bird.x. If you want to access the y property, you can say bird.y. And you can also define some functions that are inside the bird. Okay, so bird can have a function such as fly. So it's a function. So this is one way of creating a function. So bird has a function fly. Okay, and here you can do something like console.log bird is flying, and here you can give the coordinates. Okay, here you can give the coordinates such as, okay, let me just show this one first. So let me do bird. So now you can see bird dot fly. So fly is a function. So if I click on fly, I get to know it's a function. So if I just want to call this function, so how I can call it? I can just call it like this, bird dot fly. So you can see the output, bird is flying. Okay, so this is how you can create objects. Objects have attributes, objects have functions. So x and y are the properties of the bird, fly is a function of the bird. Okay, but what if I want to print the coordinates at which bird is flying? So I can say, okay, the bird is flying at x comma y. So do you think this statement will work, or you will get any errors? So if I make a call to bird.fly here, you can see x is not defined. So can anyone tell me how to fix this error? Those who have done basics of JS, how do you fix this error? No idea. Okay. So basically what happens is these x and y, when you're writing it like this, it looks for x and y that is present in global scope. If I create some xy here, so maybe something like this code will work fine. So if I just do bird.fly here now, you can see bird is flying at 20, 20. So that means it's referring to global variables. So if you want to refer the variables that are inside this object, okay, if you want to refer this x and y, so you have to say this dot x. Okay, so this refers to the current object. So here this would mean bird. So bird dot x, bird dot y. So what we will do, we will say this dot x and this dot y. So that means if you want to access some attribute of a bird object from inside a function, then you have to use the proper the word called this. Okay, so if I do bird.fly now, you will see bird is flying at 100 comma 200. Okay, so I hope you are getting this. So this is a very important concept that we will use throughout our game. Okay, it's a very important concept. Okay, great. So any doubts till now? Anything you have not understood till now? Let me know. Then we will proceed. Okay, so this is how we create a sample object. You got this. So I hope you got this. Okay. So bird.x. So bird.x, if you want to use, then you have to use it outside. If you do something like this bird.x, then it is fine. But inside this function, you have to use this.x because you are inside the bird object. Okay. Yes, we will make use of algorithmic programming, and we will do some basics of competitive programming to calculate what number will come up. Okay, some basic mathematics. All clear. So what is console.log? You can just treat it as a print statement that prints on the console. Okay, so in C++ you have cout that prints on the terminal. You can say this console is like a terminal for your browser. If you want to debug something, if you want to print something on the console, this console.log statement prints here. Okay, so console.log, hey, something like this. It's like a print statement. It gives you the output here. So either you can execute code here, but we are creating this code in a file so that we are able to store all of our code. Okay. So this is an interpreter. That means if you execute a single line of the code, it will still work. So JavaScript is being getting interpreted here. Okay. So Pooja says nice, great. So Ryan says just loving this. Okay. ठीक है. So धीरज अभी तक हमने एक ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया जिसकी कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज हैं. ठीक है. आप कोड को ऐसे छोटा भी कर सकते हो. So bird is an object that we have created. Let me just comment this thing out. Now bird is not needed. Okay. तो सिर्फ एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए लिया था. ठीक है. But I hope you are getting this. You can also call this function from here. So जब भी आप रन करोगे, you will always see bird is flying यहाँ पे print हो रहा है. But we are not able to see anything on the screen yet. Okay, I'm using the brackets ID. Okay, so I will just erase this code and I will go into some bird.x. bird के बाहर access कर सकते हो, bird के अंदर करना है, then it won't be allowed. Okay, so let me show you how you can set up a basic game with Phaser. Okay, so Phaser की वेबसाइट पे चले जाते हैं. Let's go to the Phaser website. So Phaser has a website, phaser.io. So it's a framework for building desktop and mobile games. Okay, so the interactive resume जो मैंने बनाया हुआ है on my website, that is also built using Phaser. Okay, so long time back, the Phaser, I think it was on version 2. Latest version of Phaser is on Phaser 3. So what you need to do, you need to go to download. Okay, and you go to the download button and you will find there are multiple ways. Okay, so the easiest way is you get this JavaScript file. It's a framework. It will help you to provide some template code. Okay, so you need to download this JavaScript file and keep it in the same folder. Okay, so I just download this file and you can put this file in the same folder. So here you can see I have a file called phaser.js. So here is the file. Okay, now since it's a framework, it gives us a rough skeleton how to build the code. Okay, yeah, no XML file is needed, just this file, and put it in the same directory. And what you need to do next is make sure you include this file in your HTML. So you do script src and you give the link of the file. So since it is in the same directory, so writing phaser.js will work because all the files are in the same directory. Or what you can do, you can make a folder called js and you can put those files there. Okay, so here you need to give path of the file. Okay, so this is the next step that you need to do. Okay, so let us see how to create a basic game with Phaser. Okay, so Phaser has a concept of a game. So there is a game class in Phaser that you need to construct. Okay, or you can say you need to construct an object of the game class. So we will build some object called game. It will be an object of the game class. So we are discussing how to do hello world of Phaser. Okay, so कोई भी अगर आपको गेम बनानी है, if you wish to build any game, you need to write some code. So that code I'm calling as hello world of Phaser. Okay, so that you need to build. Okay, so any game that you need to build will be an object of a game class, and that game class will also accept some attributes, some configuration that you need to give. Okay, so in config what you need to give, you need to give width, कितना बड़ा गेम का साइज होगा, height of the game. Okay, and scenes. Okay, so what scenes will be present in the game? Okay, so there can be a game with 2 scenes, there can be a game with multiple scenes, there can be a game with more number of scenes. For example, if you see my website, so this website basically has 2 scenes. there is a loading scene. Okay, so loading scene means there is a loading screen. So once this scene is completed, this platformer type of scenes get started. Okay, so this is a platformer scene. So in my website, I have two scenes. So we have to write codes for those two scenes. Okay, so let me tell you. Okay, so anything that you see in a game is a scene. So it is possible that each level of the game is a scene. Okay, so for example, this whole game is a single level. So this is like a single scene. Okay, so let me tell you how to set up a scene in Phaser. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा मैं हिंदी भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ. लेट्स सी हाउ टू क्रिएट अ सीन इन Phaser. तो ये वाला पार्ट मैं आपको हिंदी में भी एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा मैं कुछ कोड लिख रहा हूँ, आप उस कोड को पहले हम देख लेते हैं, उसके बाद हम इस पे आएंगे. ठीक है, उसके बाद हम गेम के ऊपर आएंगे. ओके, सो एक काम करते हैं. एक्चुअली वी नीड टू क्रिएट टू ऑब्जेक्ट्स. सो एक ऑब्जेक्ट है कॉन्फिग, अभी देखते हैं क्या चाहिए होगा, और एक ऑब्जेक्ट है गेम. सो लेट गेम इक्वल टू न्यू फेजर डॉट गेम. इसको देनी पड़ेगी कॉन्फिग ऑब्जेक्ट. तो यहाँ पे मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. सो जब भी आप whenever you are going to create a new game, you need to give a object. Okay, so that object will tell the browser what is the width of the game, what is the height of the game, what scenes are present in the game. Okay, so let me give you that the width is 800. So I'm going to draw a box on the web that will have a width of 800, that will have a height of 600, and that will have a scene object. Okay, so अभी के लिए इसको छोड़ दे रहा हूँ. ठीक है, so scene object क्या होगा, I will tell you. Let us run this much code. Okay, so let's just run this much code on our web browser. Okay, so you can see what happened here. So you can see there is a black screen. Okay, and this screen has this particular width, this particular height, and scene अभी के लिए हटा सकते हैं. What we have done is we have created a new game. We have created a new area where we will render the game. Okay, so this is by default a black box, and you can see in the console that your Phaser 3 is initialized. Okay, so this is Phaser 3. Okay, so this is the area where we will draw our game. Okay, something like this. Now why I'm calling this as a game? So as I said, a game will have a particular scene. So we need to define another property. We will say it will have a scene. Okay, and scene will have three functions. Okay, so whenever you create a scene in Phaser, you need to define at least three things. One is a preload function. Okay, so preload function is going to load your assets. As I said, while building any other game, we should have we should load assets. So what we will do these three tasks. We will first load our assets. Okay, next we will create our game. Okay, so this will be a function, and we will update our screen. So this will be another function. So whenever you create a scene object in Phaser, you need to define these three things so that you can actually see some screen. Okay, so preload is going to be a function. So I can just define a function in JavaScript here. Let's call it preload or load assets. Whatever name you want to give to this function, it's perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm just calling this as preload. I'm creating a function called create, and I'm creating a function called update. Okay, so here I'm going to say console.log in preload. Here I'm going to say console.log in create, and here I'm going to say console.log in update. Okay, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to map these functions, okay, with these particular keys. Okay, so I'm just going to say, okay, when you say preload, call the preload function. When I say create, call the create function. When I say update, call the update function. So that's it. So that's the hello world of Phaser. So this much code is required to start any game in Phaser. Okay. So this much code you must have. So if I go to the browser now, I go to inspect and I go to console. And can you tell me what functions have been called and how many times by looking at the console output? Okay, guys, tell me what functions have been called and how many times they have been called. Okay, I will just reload this. Come on, guys, tell me how many functions have been called and how many times. Sayam, correct answer. Okay, right. So you can see we have not called any function. We have just defined the function. But when you set up a Phaser game, the Phaser is automatically going to call those functions. Okay, so you can see the preload function is called once. So one time the preload function has been called. Okay, it's not called by me, it's called by Phaser because you have created a Phaser game. Phaser will automatically start the game loop. It will automatically start the game loop. You can see preload is called once, create is called next. So this is the order, and the update function. Okay, so this is getting called continuously. You can see this is the number of times the update function is being called. So this function is getting called again and again. It's like a loop that is going on. Okay, maybe at 60 frames per second or 60 calls per second, something like this. Okay, that defines the frame rate. So are you understanding this? This update function is continuously getting called unless you have some code to stop it. Okay, so it's getting called infinite times, or it's continuously getting called at some particular time period. Okay, so these calls are done by the Phaser itself. Okay, so I hope you are getting it. So any doubts till now? Any doubts till now? So what happened now is the game will have one or more scenes. Okay, so what we do, we basically wrap those scenes inside a config object, and we pass this config object to the game object. So there is a game object, that game object has a config object, and that config object has a scene object. Okay, okay, now tell me. Okay, there is one question for you guys. If I say console.log this, so what will this refer to? What is this object here? Okay, so can you tell me what is this object here? Just look at this. Okay, what is this object here? Thanks, Chetan. So carefully look at this function is present in which object. So what is this object here? Satyajit, good question. It's not like an infinite loop. Okay, so they are doing something like set interval, that is setting the frequency of the function call. It's not like an infinite loop. Okay, so I have got few answers. So Aditya, your answer is correct. Okay, so now you can carefully look. We have a config object. Inside it, we have a scene object. And if you have a function here, okay, so preload is a function here. So if you do something this here, it will refer to the scene object. So here, this refers to the scene object. So if I just print this, you will see this will refer to the scene object. Okay, so let me show you. You can see So this is the output of console.log this, and this object is nothing but it's a scene object. Okay. Yeah, infinite loop will crash the CPU, but it's not an infinite loop. It's a loop that is being called at some particular delay. Okay, such as 60 calls per second. Now you can see there are a lot of properties inside the scene objects. So can you guess from where these properties are coming? So now you can see scene object has some functions. For example, there is one function. So create is a function that is defined by us. Okay, preload is a function that is created by us. Okay, and there is a function called update that is also created by us, but there are some other properties as well. Okay, you can see there is a property called add. Okay, there is a object called load. Okay, so it refers to the loader plugin that comes with the phaser. So all these properties, all these objects are inbuilt because of the phaser, because of the game class. Okay, so they are created by phaser to make your work easy. Okay, so we are going to exploit some of these objects, we are going to exploit some of these properties to build this particular to add some components in the game. So first thing we will do is we will load some images in our loader method. Okay, so Pradeep, yes, your answer is correct. Sean, your answer is correct. So everyone is giving me the correct answers. Great. Great, great. Good going, guys. I hope you are getting it well, right? Okay, great. So let me do one thing. Let me load some stuff in the game. So what I will do, I will go in my preload function. Okay, I will just remove this code. This is not required. We will do something like this. We will say, let's try to load an image. Load an image using this dot load. So there is a function called image that will help you to load the particular image. Okay, so whenever you load an image, you need to give the URL and you need to give the key by what name you want to refer that particular image. So let me show you. I have in the assets folder, there is an image called back.jpg. I'm going to load this particular image. Okay, so let me give the URL. So URL is in the assets folder, the image is back, and let me give it some key. Let's call this image as background. Okay. So this will load the image. It will not create that image on the screen. It will make a HTTP request to the server and it will load that particular image. Okay. So if I just go here, you will see there are no changes. Nothing is happening. Okay. So what you need to do, once the image is loaded, you need to create that particular image. Okay. So let's try to create that particular image. So for that, what you need to do, you need to use the add object. Okay, so this dot add, so scene dot add, you are adding this object to your scene. So scene dot add, what you are adding an image. So image is also called as sprite. So there is a function called add sprite that will ask, okay, at what coordinates you want to add that particular image. I will call this as, okay, add that image at the 0,0. So you can see, so this is the background image. So it's creating that image. Okay. So this dot load is a object inside a phaser. If I just show you, I just showed you console.log this. So this refers to the scene object here. Okay. And if I, so this is the output of this. And if I open up this object, scene object, it also has an object called add object. It also has an object called load object. Okay. So load object has certain functions. So we are using this function load image. You can see, guys. So you can see we are opening the scene object. Inside the scene object, there is a add object. There is a add object, and there is also a load object. And when you open the load object, there are certain methods that are present inside the load object, and we are using the method called image. Okay, so image is a function inside load object. Load is an object inside the scene object. Okay, are you guys getting it? upload the images to the repository you are doing side by side. Okay, now someone is asking why 00. Okay, I will come to it. So guys, what happens is when you try to display an image on your screen. So what happens is when you say, okay, let's say I have an image like this. I have an image of a football, let's say, or I have a wheel image. Okay, so when you try to position a particular image, by default, the center of the image is at in the middle of the image. Okay, so this is middle of the image. Okay, so when you say, okay, I want to place this image at 0 comma 0, so this is 0 comma 0, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and so on. Okay, so when you say, okay, I want to place this image at 0 comma 0, so it will place the image at this particular point like this, so that you will only see this part of the image. Okay, but if you want to move this image to somewhere here, you need to position it accordingly. So let me try to give you another image. Okay, what is min.js file in Phaser? Okay, so what is min.js? Okay, so Phaser gives you two files. One is JS file, one is min.js file. So when you deploy your app on production system, what do? You remove all the comments, you remove all the white spaces, you compress the code. Okay, so it's called a minified file. आपने कोड को छोटा कर दिया, स्पेसेस हटा दिए, कमेंट्स हटा दिए, तो वो फाइल का साइज छोटा हो जाता है. तो जब आप किसी को प्रोडक्ट शिप कर रहे हो, तो यू विल इन ऑर्डर टू सेव स्पेस यू गिव द मिनिफाइड वर्जन ऑफ द फाइल. ओके, एंड जेएस फाइल को आप खोल के देख सकते हो, पढ़ सकते हो. मिनिफाइड जेएस फाइल को पढ़ना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होगा. That's the only difference. Otherwise, code is same in both the files. Okay, if you don't want to open this file, you can just go with the min.js file also. Okay, that is also fine. Okay, yes, so Vivek, your assumption is correct. Create is called one time. Okay, is the performance also dependent on JS file size? Not, but when you load your game, if your file size is heavy, that it will take more time to load. Okay, why does the update function shows two outputs? So basically दो नहीं है, बीच में अगर कुछ और console.log आपने कर दिया, तो वो वहां पे आउटपुट ब्रेक हो जाता है और दोबारा से आउटपुट स्टार्ट हो जाता है. ठीक है, so एक ही आउटपुट है, अपडेट का एक ही आउटपुट है. ठीक है, ठीक है, तो एक काम करते हैं, लेट अस ट्राई टू लोड अनदर इमेज. स्पिन को इसको लोड करके देखते हैं. ठीक है, we can load the wheel. Okay, so wheel.png. Let's try to load this particular image. So game.js में जा रहे हैं. एक काम कर रहा हूँ, people are asking for the GitHub repository. I'm just creating a GitHub repository so that if you want to try, you can try along. Okay. Just give me a minute so that I can push the assets. If you want to try along, you can do it. Okay. So assets and phaser.js, both files are being copied to this repository. So sprite is a function inside the add object. So sprite is also, you can say, another name for an image. Okay. Okay, so this is the Phaser way of creating the image. Okay, so you're using a framework, you have to use the functions provided by the framework. Okay, you cannot say I want to add an image, you have to say I have to add a sprite, something like that. Okay, so guys, the assets are added on the GitHub, and I can also create a short link for it. Okay, so the short link is spin code. You can use this link to download the code and the images. Okay, other files, JS. Once I complete the code, I will share the other files in the same link. Okay, so अभी तो कुछ लिखा ही नहीं है, so I'm not adding the JS file. But once I complete it, you can add. Okay. Okay, compiler नहीं है, it's a brackets ID. Okay, so I'm using the brackets ID. Okay, let's continue working with the game. Okay, so what next we will do, we will add the add the wheel. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to load the wheel image. It's a PNG file. Okay, this dot add dot sprite. Let's add sprite, uh, add this particular image, maybe at, let's say, 0 0, the coordinates, and let's call it as wheel. Okay, so let me show you here in the browser. You can see it is appearing like this. So can you guess what issues are there with the image? So one thing is, it's not placed in the center, it's placed in the corner. Okay, another thing is the scale. The wheel is pretty big, we need to reduce the size of the sprite. Okay, so we need to reduce the size of the sprite. So what we will do, firstly we will try to compute the middle of the screen. Okay, we will try to position it. So let me say, let width equals to game dot. So now you can see game has an object called config has a property called width. So from here we can get the width, config dot width, and let height equals to game dot config dot height. Okay, so if you want to compute the middle of the screen, you can say, okay, add this add this image in the middle of the screen. So you can give w/2, and you can say h/2, and you can add the wheel here. Okay, let's see. Now you can see it's getting added in the middle of the screen, but it's still not perfect, right? So what next thing we need to do? We need to work with the scaling part. Okay, so how do we change the scale? So let me do something like this. Let me say let wheel equals to this. So wheel is now present in this object, and responsive भी कर लेंगे, ठीक है? So शिवम कह रहा है you need to create this as a responsive. So go to index.html, go here and add the style tag. Okay, so the game is rendered on a canvas element. Give this width as 100%, and I think it should work. Okay, now you can see it's pretty responsive. If you shrink your screen, the size of the game reduces. If you make it bigger, it is going to scale. Okay, ठीक है? तो now you can see, छोटा कर रहा हूँ तो छोटा हो रहा है, और फुल स्क्रीन कर रहा हूँ तो फुल स्क्रीन के जितना हो रहा है. ठीक है? So what is the next issue? The next issue is with the scale. So that means we need to compress the image. It's appearing pretty big. We need to compress it. So for that, we will have another function in Phaser that will help us to change the size. Okay. So what I can say okay, wheel dot set scale, and I can say okay, reduce the width and the height by a factor of 75%. So that actual scale will be now 25% of the original scale. Now you can see it's showing in the middle of the screen. Okay, got it? So now you have the wheel that is ready. Okay. GitHub link is, I think, spin code cb.lk/spin code. Okay. So it's doing a 75% reduction in the size along the width and along the height. Okay. So any doubts till now? Anything you didn't get? Anything that you want me to repeat? Okay. So let's add some more images. If you want to spin the wheel, it's pretty easy actually. What you need to do is you need to modify the angle property. Okay. Can we not change the options in the spin wheel? Obviously, you can change. You need to use your own image. Okay, so whatever options you want to create a graphic for that. And I have this graphic, so I'm using it. Okay. Okay, let's see if you want to spin this particular wheel. If you want to just uh, rotate it. So what you need to do? You need to say, okay, this dot angle in the update function, because that is the function that is getting called again and again. Okay, so sorry, I'm just going to say wheel dot angle, and I'm going to say plus equals to 1. Now you will see we may get some error. We are getting some error in the console. So, and can anyone guess why this error? So it says wheel is not defined. Can anyone tell me why we are getting this error? Okay. Canvas to in CSS. Okay, so this if I just go to inspect element here, you can see this game is actually created inside a canvas tab. Okay, so if you carefully see, okay, so yeah, here is the HTML code that you can see here. I'm just able to drag it. Okay, so in your body, in your HTML body, you can see there is a canvas tag of the game size. So this canvas tag is created by the phaser to render your game. Okay, so we are actually modifying the CSS of this canvas element, and that's why we selected the canvas element in the CSS. Okay, so Divya has given me the correct answer. Great work, Divya. Creep Adventures, great work. Jaya Chandra, good. So all of you have given me the correct answer. Even Karan's answer is correct. So the answer, it's because of the scope. Okay, so wheel is defined inside the create function. It's a local variable. So what I can do, I can just say wheel is a property of the scene object. So instead of using let wheel equal to this, I can say this dot wheel equal to this particular image, and here I can say this dot wheel dot set scale to. So it will make wheel a property of the scene object. Okay, and here I can say, okay, this dot wheel dot angle plus equals to 1. And now you can see every time the update function is called, the angle of wheel is getting rotated by 1 degree, and you can see the wheel is spinning now. Okay, Satyajit, correct, you're correct, right? So now you can see the wheel is actually spinning. So all of you take help from Arnav. Okay, so send the screenshot to Arnav somehow via email. Okay. So is it okay? Are you able to rotate your wheel? So what we just did it, we just changed the angle property of the wheel in the update function, and now you can see the wheel is getting rotated. Okay. What is the difference between preload and create? Okay, so what happens is you have your client. Okay, the client needs assets. Okay, so that assets folder is empty. So when you call the preload function, okay, so those images that are present on the server, those images are created in the memory. Okay, so here in this case, the assets folder, so these images are present on a local server. So those, when you deploy your game on a website, server gives you those images inside the assets folder, and you will have this images loaded in the memory of the browser. Okay, so preload loads those images from the server in the memory of the browser. Okay, that's what preload function does, and create function actually draws those images on the screen. Okay, how many times it will rotate? So since update function is getting called infinite number, it's getting called unless the game is not over, it will keep on rotating. Okay, but for our game we will do something like we will rotate this for a certain number of spins for a certain time. Okay, so we will see how to do that animation as well. Okay, so let me do something. Let me add some more assets. Okay, so I will add two more things. One is the pin, and one is the stand. Okay, so I have pin, I have stand. Event click we will discuss. Okay, don't worry, we will come to event click also. Okay, how many assets we can add? Okay, as many assets you want you can add. Okay, so let me add the pin also. So this dot add dot sprite, let me add pin, and I need to find coordinates of the pin. So I have already have figured out the coordinates. So it will be in the middle, and it will have this as the y coordinate. Okay, let me close this. Now you can see we have the pin, but it's appearing pretty big. So again, we have to do the scaling for the pin also. Okay, so I can say dot scale, dot set scale. We can directly call it here, and we can say, okay, reduce the scale by 25 to 25%. So now you can see we have added the pin also. Okay. Uh, so guys, there are multiple ways. You can do it in plain JavaScript also. You can do it using any other framework also. Just because a lot of you had asked me to uh, do a webinar on Phaser, so I'm using Phaser to build this. Okay, so okay, there are lot of options. Okay, so pin we have corrected. Next thing is we need to add a stand. Okay, so I can say this dot add dot sprite in the middle and somewhere towards the bottom. So h by 2 plus 250. Okay, and here I will add the stand dot set scale dot 0.25, something like this. Now you can see we have the pin, we have the stand. Now, can you tell me what is the error here? What is not looking fine? How do we fix that error? The stand is coming on the top of the wheel, right? But we want the stand to go behind the wheel. So there are multiple ways. Okay. So what you can do is you can either change the order in which this code is added. So this is what you can do. You can create the wheel after the stand, but it also comes on the top of the pin. Okay. So another option is you can sorry. Yeah, Z index, right? So I'm just going to show you that. Okay, so we have the wheel, we have the pin, and we have the stand. I've just changed the order. Okay, so you can just write it like this also. Uh, we have the stand, we have the pin. This is not needed, and we have the wheel. Okay, now let me show you. Pin is not coming on the top. Okay, yes, so order of insertion होना चाहिए कोड, या फिर what you can do, you can change the Z index, you can change कि कौन सा ऑब्जेक्ट कहाँ पे आएगा. So by default every object has a property. If I just show you console.log this dot wheel dot depth, मतलब इसकी डेप्थ क्या है. So by default सबकी डेप्थ 0 होती है, so यहाँ पे 0 डिस्प्ले हो जाए. ठीक है, बट what you can do, you can say पिन की डेप्थ में अगर 1 कर दूँ तो Z index पिन का ऊपर हो जाएगा. So what you can say is let me say this is pin, let pin equals to this, and I can say pin dot depth equals 1. So that will change the Z index of the pin, so it will come to the top, and you can see something like this. So this is the depth property that phasor gives you to modify the Z index. So yes, by default it is 0. You can even set it in negative. It should be a positive number or a negative number or 0. Okay. All right. So I will suggest it to watch it live. Okay. So later on, not so sure, but I will give you the code. But watch this session live. Okay. Pin, or you can say the order should be pin code first at the stand, then at the wheel, then at the pin. That is also fine. Okay. That will not matter. Okay, it's just a number. If you have a wheel that is at depth 0, pin that is at depth 5, it will appear similar. Okay, so even if you put it as 5, you will see the same effect. Okay, nothing changed. Okay, wheel is not stopping because the update function is getting called again and again. So if you want to stop the wheel, you need to remove this line of code. Okay, Samriddhi says got it. Right. Great. Okay, guys, what should be our next step? What we should do next? We should add something like we should add a button on which we click and the wheel spins. Or as of now, just to keep things simple, I will add an event listener. Okay. How do we add number of spins? Okay, we will discuss that. Okay. Yeah, wheel is now rendered on the screen. You cannot go to inspect and change the wheel properties. You just have a canvas. Okay, so you cannot use actually CSS to modify the positioning here. Okay, it's not a part, it's not an object in the DOM. So DOM has only one object, that is your canvas. Everything is getting rendered on the screen according to the game logic. So we need to add something like an on click event. Great. So there is a phasors way of implementing on-click event. So let me tell you how do we implement on-click in phasor. So you need to write this dot input dot on. Here the name of the event will go. So on pointer down. Okay. So क्या करना है? When the pointer is down, when someone touches your screen, or when someone clicks on the screen, you need to call a function. Okay, so you need to call the function. Let me call a function called spin wheel. Okay, and let's create a function called spin wheel. You need to say console.log time to spin the wheel. How to spin in एंटी क्लॉकवाइज? यार आसान है, मतलब +1 की जगह माइनस कर तो उल्टा हो जाएगा, एंटी क्लॉकवाइज घूमने लगेगा. ठीक है, so every moment the update function is called, the wheel is rotated in the reverse direction. Fine enough. Okay, now I have this function. You can see when I click the mouse, can I click the mouse, I can see I get this event triggered, spin time to spin the wheel. Okay, yes, you can make it without phasor also. Okay, Great, Pranjal, great. So every time I click this event, oh, I click this, I get this time to spin the wheel. Okay, you can see on the right. Okay, I think now you're getting what happens is, so you need to refer the input object that is present in the scene, and you need to register the event listener. Okay, what happens, what function to call when the pointer is down. Pointer means you're touching the screen or you're clicking the mouse. Okay, can we stop the wheel at any option? So I will come to it, we will come to it. Okay, so time to spin the wheel. What you can do, you can think of is, you can say, okay, this dot wheel dot angle equals to, let's say, plus equals to 10. You want to maybe turn the wheel by a certain angle, something like this. But you can see, you again got an error, uh, property of undefined. Okay, so that means it is not able to locate the wheel. So why this is not able to locate the wheel? Because the spin wheel function is not a part of the scene object. Okay, it is not a part of the scene object. So what you need to do, you need to pass the context. Okay, you need to pass this object to the spin wheel object, and now you can refer this dot wheel dot angle plus equals to 10. So once I click, you can see there is a slight rotation in the wheel. So whenever I click, there is a slight rotation of 10 degrees in the wheel. Okay, something like this. Getting it? Are you guys getting it now? Okay, so this is how you need to call the spin wheel function. Great. Okay. Can we add GIF image? Okay, so Phaser has a different way of, if you want to add some images like I added in my resume also. Okay, if you want to create some motion images, like Phaser has something called sprite sheets. So you can work with sprite sheets to create some animations like these. Okay, so GIF is not needed. You can work with sprite sheet because you can change what frames to display at what key, something like that. Okay. How do we get to know about more of webinars? Okay, through your campus visitors. Okay, so if you have a campus visitor in your college, so campus visitors are responsible to inform their friends about workshops, and also we are launching something called coding blocks events. So that section will be on available on coding blocks online. So so this will be ready soon. Okay, so you will get to know about events through coding blocks events as well. Okay. Okay. So I think Rajneesh, your doubt is clear. Okay. Okay. Let's now do something interesting. Okay. What we need to do is, uh, we actually need to figure out how much we need to give some more rotation to the wheel. Okay, so I can say wheel dot angle equals to plus equals to, let's say, 1000 degrees. Okay, so can you tell me how many complete rotations it will do? Let's say 1300 degrees. So how many times the wheel will rotate if I rotate the angle by 1300 degrees? How many full rotations it will do? Yes, someone is asking about the interactive resume code. So the code is open sourced, and also if you want to learn how to build this one, so I have covered this in the DSA projects course. Okay, so many of you are already enrolled in this course. So you can see I have covered few games. So spin and win I have covered in different parts. So we have completed till part 4. Okay. So 2 parts are left. Part 5 and part 6 that we are doing. And after that, the next step is to build interactive resume. So those who are doing the course, or if you want to join, you can see the course as well. Okay. So I've covered these things in detail in the course as well. Okay. So if I say 1300 degrees, so that means one full rotation means 360 degrees, and 1300 degrees means three full rotations. Okay, and something more. Okay, but what happened is this wheel just got rotated, so it rotated very fast. Okay, but what I want is I want a slow animation to build up. I want it to rotate step by step. Okay, so basically 3.61 times, right, something like this. Okay, you what you need to do, you need to do 1300 upon 360, so it will give you this answer. Yes, so these many degrees it's going to rotate. But what we need to do, we need to define something called a tween. So that means we are going to create a slow animation in phaser. So प्लीज टेल इन हिंदी. ओके, सो एक छोटा सा एनिमेशन हम बनाएंगे, ठीक है, जिसमें व्हील की जो एंगल वाली प्रॉपर्टी है वो धीरे 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 चेंज होती है. ठीक है, सो व्हील व्हील स्टॉप स्टार्ट स्पिनिंग इट लाइक दिस. सो फेदर gives you this option to create. So let me just call this as tween. So if you want to see some more examples, you can go to the phaser website, go to the example section. You will find some examples on tweens. Okay. Okay, let's say something like this. So sprite has certain properties like उसका scale है, उसका वो है, क्या कहते हैं. Now you can see इस image की एक property है alpha property that is changing slowly over the time. So कैसे किया इन्होंने? So they created a tween. Okay, they said this tween will be applied on the image. So inside the tween, inside this object, you are saying okay, this will be applied on target image. The alpha will be 0.1. This will be the delay, and this will be the duration. Okay, so इतने time में इस image का alpha, that is the transparency, that will change from 1 to 0.1. So let's just copy this code and apply this code on wheel. Okay. So what I will say, okay, this will apply on this dot wheel. Okay, and let me select tween equal to this. That I'm saying the alpha property of the wheel will start decreasing from 1 and it will stop at 0.1. Okay, so we will move in this direction. So something like this. So let me show you. So when I click this, you can see the wheel is started fading, and you can see the transparency of the wheel is getting reduced, and it will stop at 0.1. Okay. Assets not loading on Chrome. Okay, so make sure you are using a local server. If you just run this file directly, so there is one error that other people can also face. So if you go to the folder, you say okay, I'm just going to open this index.html, then you will see a blank screen like this. ठीक है, तो अगर आप local server नहीं बनाओगे, you will see a blank screen because of these errors. Okay, why? Because when you're using the preload function, okay, it's making a HTTP request on the server, and that request is going on your local system. So that means your browser cannot access these files directly in your system. Okay, so आपका एक folder है जिसमें कुछ images पड़ी हैं, उनको आप HTTP request के through access करना चाहते हो. तो अगर ये allow कर दिया जाएगा, so any hacker can get the access of your browser. Through your browser, he can attack your system. Okay, so it would be a huge security risk. In order to stop that, by default, HTTP request cannot access the files because browser blocks them. So that is why you are not able to load the assets. So that's why I was using brackets. It creates a local server. Okay, it creates a local server, and that is done by brackets. Okay, so when I click this button, it automatically creates a local server. Okay, you can see it's running on a local server here. Okay, so when I click this live preview button in brackets, it automatically creates a local server. Okay, but if you can create a local server using Python, you can also create a local server using Node.js. But the easiest way is you just create a local server by clicking this. Okay, clicking this live preview button, it automatically creates it for you. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create a tween. That means we want to create an animation. So tween is like an animation that will get triggered on the wheel. We do not want to change the alpha property, we want to change the angle property. Let's say we want to change the angle to 1300 degrees. Okay, and we do not want to add a delay. We want to start immediately after the click, and we want this angle to turn 1300 degrees in 6000 milliseconds. So if you use Sublime, you have to use terminal to create a local server using Node.js. Okay. So now if I click this wheel, now you can see the wheel is rotating for 1300 degrees and it stops. Okay. Now can you tell me what is the problem you can see in the rotation of the wheel? What is something that is not usual? So observe something. Observe something in the wheel rotation. Let me know what do you think? What's wrong with the rotation of the wheel? Okay, you can create local server using any software. Okay, not slowly stopping. So Saurav has given me the correct answer. Okay, so whenever you start your car, you start slowly, you speed up, and then when you stop, when you apply brakes, you also stop slowly. Okay, so that means if I just talk about the velocity of the wheel for 6000 milliseconds, it's like a constant velocity. Okay, but what we want is the wheel should first accelerate. Okay, so the wheel should first speed up and then the velocity should decrease. Okay, or maybe something like this. The speed is increasing, then it is decreasing. Something like this. Something like this. Okay, so velocity versus time means we should accelerate and deaccelerate. Something like this, right? So for that, what we will do, we will say we will have a property called ease, and there is a function that is there inside phasor. We want to say okay, it should be cubic ease out, so something like an effect we want to build. Okay, so if I just add this property here, you will see it will have a very real movement. It will speed up and then it will stop slowly. It will stop slowly. Now you can see. It spins and it stops slowly. Duration of the spin needs to be defined as its result will be same every time. Not exactly duration. What you can change is you can change the angle. Okay. So this angle we will define randomly. Okay. So now what result we got? We got a swag pack. If you change this to something like 1000, you get something else. So we will adjust that angle accordingly. Now you can see you are getting hard luck. Okay. Something that you also get on coding blocks online. Okay, so if you change the angle, you will get something else. So hope you guys are enjoying the session. Okay, it stops at the same point. How to fix this? Okay, look, that's the next thing that we are going to discuss. Okay, so uh, instead of how to hack the wheel, how to hack the wheel. I don't know how to hack the wheel. It's for you to figure out how to hack the wheel. Okay, but yeah, you can do some kind of hard coding. Uh, you can trick your users to so that they only get some of these options instead of getting all options. You can actually hack the wheel. You can exactly throw, okay, these options will come up these many times. Okay, you can do something like that. But in our wheel, there is a non-zero probability for everything. Okay, so on Coding Blocks Online, the wheel is uh, there, but everything has a non-zero probability. Okay, so there is a way in which angle changes itself. Okay, so basically अभी जिस angle पे wheel stop हुआ है, तो next rotation होगी, that will be computed with respect to, I think, that angle, something like that. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to generate a random angle. Okay, so firstly what we will do is, we will first, let's see कैसे करना है. We will say, okay, we will rotate the wheel for certain number of rounds for sure. So phasor dot math dot between. So I will say, okay, definitely rotate the wheel for these many rounds. Okay, and if you want to say, okay, angle would be nothing but rounds into 360, something like this. So that would mean these many full rotations it will do. You can see. You can also print rounds. Console.log how many rounds it will rotate before stopping. So if I spin the wheel, it says it will rotate for 3 rounds, and you will see it will stop at something at the same point. Okay, it starts from CB book. I rotate it for 2 rounds. It will stop at CB book only. You can see. Okay, so this is how you can define how many rotations you want to give. So I have given random rotations. So now it will rotate for 4 number of times before stopping, because I'm generating a random integer between 2 to 4. Okay. Buy one get one pay. You can get any course that is of a lower price or equal price than the course price. Okay, something like this. Stop button की जरूरत नहीं है. It will automatically stop after playing for some time. Okay. हाँ, is there any point the spin will stop between 2 points? So उसके लिए मैं आ रहा हूँ. Okay, define the time of the spin. Yes. So here we have defined the time of the spin. So the spin, once you trigger the spin, it will automatically stop after 6,000 milliseconds. Okay, so this is the duration. If you just reduce it, you can say, okay, the wheel will stop in 3,000 milliseconds. Okay, but you can see even before the wheel starts spinning, you already know the result. Okay, what is going to come up. So that's something you can control. Okay, so in order to add some randomness, let's add some extra degrees that the wheel will rotate. So let extra degrees that the wheel will rotate. So that will be a number between, let's say, phasor dot math dot between 0 to 11. Okay, so now I will just show you what we have. We have 12 items in the wheel. If you just count 1, 2, 3, 4, you will find there are items numbered from 1 to 12. Okay, or you can say 0 to 11. There are 11 items in the wheel. So if you want one of these items to randomly come up, okay, so what you need to do, you need to generate a random number between 0 to 11. Okay, and if you see total angle is 360. If you divide it by 12, each item covers an angle of 30 degree. Okay, so you multiply it with 30. So your pen will stop at one of these items. Okay, so it will exactly stop in the middle of some of these items, either here or here or here or here. Okay, so let us try to stop the pin at one of these items. Okay, why good offers are hard to get? Okay, so I will take that question. Okay, so I will tell you how the good offers are hard to get. Okay, so I will tell you the logic for it. Don't worry. So we are close to that logic. So firstly, let us make a fair wheel that gives equal probability to every spin. So let me do something like this. So let me say total angle that I will rotate, it will be number of rounds into 360 plus some extra degrees that I will get. I will rotate to add some randomness. Okay, so something like this. So here, instead of saying angle is this, I will say rotated by total angle during this time. Now you can see 4 rounds. It stops at 35% off. Let's rotate it again. It stops at swag pack. Rotate it again. It stops at 70% off. So you can see you're actually getting all the things randomly, and it stops somewhere in middle. Okay, so you're getting hard luck this time. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, you can actually do something like this. Suppose there are three prizes, okay, and you want these three prizes to come with a probability of, let's say, 20%, 30%, and 50%, something like this. Okay, and what you can do is, if you want to change the probability distribution, I'm telling you hack to create a biased wheel. Okay, so suppose you want these three prices to come up with these three probability distributions. What you can do, you can generate a random number between 0 to 1. Okay, so maybe you end up getting 0.11, maybe you end up getting 0.56, maybe you end up getting 0.78. Okay, so what you can do, you can say if the number is between 0 to 0.2, you will get the prize number 1. If the number is between zero point 0.2 to point number 3, oh sorry, point 5, you will get the prize number 2. And if it is between zero point 0.5 to 1.0, you will say you will get the prize number 3. Something like this. So the probability of number coming between zero point 0.5 to 1 is actually 50%. Okay, this probability is actually 30%, and this probability is actually 20%. Okay, so you can actually decide the price randomly, what price the user will get, and accordingly you can adjust the extra degrees to spin the wheel. Okay, so so the price is decided before you spin the wheel. Okay, so spinning is just to show you, okay, the wheel is actually spinning, but you can actually hard code. You can actually hard code the probability distribution, and you can say, okay, if the number is between zero point 0.5 to point 0.1 or 1.0, I will give you the price number 3, and accordingly you can find out the extra degrees you want to rotate the wheel. Okay, how to add sound to spinning wheel. So that is your assignment. I will give you the link. Okay, I will give you how to rotate that wheel. Okay, so I hope you got an idea how to spin the wheel. Okay. Probability of 100% is this. So yeah, so guys, all shopping websites, they adjust the probabilities. No one is going to give you 100% free of cost, but coding blocks is still giving you with a non-zero probability. Okay. Okay, someone is not asking me कि डिस्प्ले कैसे कराना है यूजर को, how do we display कि क्या जीता है. Is there is more layer of random number? More layer of random number मतलब, Pradeep, what's your doubt? Can we increase or decrease the number of slots in that option? Yes, you can definitely increase the number of slots. ठीक है, मतलब you need to change the graphic. Okay, and you need to compute this thing. So this is nothing but 360 divided by the number of items in the wheel. Okay, so if you have 4 items, you have something like that. Okay, now according to this random number, you can actually figure out what price that has come up. Okay, सो आई विल जस्ट शो यू माई अदर कोड जिसमें मैंने वो भी इम्प्लीमेंट किया है. ठीक है, हाउ टू ऐड अ स्पिन बटन. रैंडम पर कैसे पॉइंट हो रहा है यार, रैंडम पर ऐसे पॉइंट हो रहा है ना यार कि जो टोटल एंगल है दैट इज कंप्यूटेड यूजिंग एक्स्ट्रा डिग्रीज, सो ये क्या कर रहा है, ये 0 से 11 के बीच में एक रैंडम नंबर जनरेट कर रहा है, इंटू 30 कर रहे हैं, तो एक बार 30 रोटेट करने से पहला पहला आइटम आ जाता है, 2 बार 30 रोटेट करने से दूसरा आइटम आ जाता है, ठीक है, तीसरा आइटम उस पे आ जाता है 3 बार रोटेट करने से, ठीक है। राइट, सो हाउ टू पॉप अप डिस्प्ले प्राइस टू द यूजर, यार कैन आई चेंज द कोड फ्रॉम इंस्पेक्ट ऑफ कोडिंग ब्लॉक्स वेबसाइट टू गेट 100%, यार इंस्पेक्ट एलिमेंट्स आप कर सकते हो, बट होगा क्या, you won't be able to send a request to our server to create a coupon for that, right? You can change on the front end, but at the back end only our code can make a request, okay? अच्छा, अभी there is a competition for you guys, ठीक है? So competition क्या है? Competition is like this. So you need to create your own spin and win, ठीक है? थोड़ा सा भी चेंज कर रहा हूँ. let me show you. So एक स्टूडेंट ने सबमिट भी कर दिया है, मैंने थोड़ा सा हिंट दिया था कि हम कंपटीशन रखेंगे. So one of the student has already submitted. तो मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ उसने क्या बनाया है. So you need to add some extra features, okay, in the game. So cb.lk slash spin spin win, okay, this is the short link, ठीक है. So there is a course giveaway competition. So क्या करना है, आपको प्रोजेक्ट को कंप्लीट करना है, and you need to publish the project on GitHub and on LinkedIn by 9th June. Okay, so today is 7th. You need to complete it and publish it by 9th June. ठीक है, code should be on GitHub. Project video, स्क्रीन रिकॉर्ड करके एक छोटा सा वीडियो बनाना है 30 सेकेंड्स का या 10 सेकेंड्स का, उसको हैशटैग कोडिंग ब्लॉक्स एंड हैशटैग स्पिन एंड विन चैलेंज से यू कैन मेक अ पोस्ट ऑन लिंक्डइन, ओके, यू कैन टैग मी and coding blocks, and you need to fill this form by 10th of June, okay, by 6 PM, okay. And जो टॉप 10 बेस्ट प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे, जो लोग एक्स्ट्रा फीचर्स डालेंगे, मे बी इम्प्रूव करेंगे यूआई को, कुछ बटन्स डालेंगे, कुछ साउंड डालेंगे, ठीक है, या कुछ पॉपअप डालेंगे कि क्या जीता है, सो दे विल गेट दिस फ्री कोर्स डीएस इन रियल लाइफ का, ठीक है. और मे बी कुछ अलग प्राइस भी हो सकता है इफ यू ऑलरेडी हैव द कोर्स, ठीक है. So to increase your chances of winning, you will need to implement few features. First is disable the spin. तो अभी वाले में बग क्या है कि अगर आपका व्हील घूम रहा है, ठीक है, और मैं फिर से क्लिक कर देता हूँ तो व्हील घूमने लगता है बार बार. So if the wheel is already in the spinning state, you need to disable the spin, ठीक है, ऐसा एक फीचर डाल सकते हो. Instead of mouse click, you need to add a button tap to spin, which triggers the spin wheel function, okay. Link for the certificate, I'm going to give you the link, okay. Okay, so add a button tap to spin which triggers the spin wheel function. So instead of doing a mouse click, I've given you the example. इस example को आप follow कर सकते हो to add the button, ठीक है. Play background music when the wheel is spinning, okay. So that means कुछ आप म्यूजिक प्ले करना चाहते हो, ठीक है, और add any one new feature, maybe give a pop-up what prize you have won, something like this. Once you are done with the code, submit the project यहाँ पे, ठीक है. प्रोजेक्ट गिटहब लिंक, लिंक्डइन पोस्ट लिंक, कमेंट्स. तो जो बेस्ट 10 प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे या ज़्यादा अच्छे होंगे तो मैं 20 भी दे दूंगा, ठीक है. सो नाउ देयर आर फ्यू लिंक्स, ओके. सो फर्स्ट इज द लिंक फॉर द सर्टिफिकेट. तो सर्टिफिकेट के लिए लिंक है cb.lk/certi/spin, ओके. इस लिंक पे आप अपना सर्टिफिकेट जनरेट कर सकते हो. सेकंड इज this link, competition link, okay. So the competition is open for next 2 to 3 days. So competition is cb.lk/what/spin win. Okay, so this is the link for the competition. Okay, यार फिर क्या हो गया, एक बार प्रोजेक्ट बना लो, ठीक है, add some new features, you will learn something. Okay, एंड कोड का लिंक आपको मैंने दे ही दिया है. ठीक है, cb.lk/spin win for competition. Yes, you can make the game in Unity for the competition. Okay, you can make the game in vanilla JavaScript. You can make using other framework also. Okay. Guys, code will be available. Video may not be available. Okay. Certificate link. Let me just check cb.lk/certi/spin. Guys, the link is working. Okay, so this is the link to get the certificate. cb.lk/certi/spin. It's working. Okay. Link of the code. Okay, so this is the link for the certi. Code के लिए cb.lk/ I think the link is spin code. Sorry, this is spin code. ठीक है, and for the competition it's cb.lk/spinwin. So my name is Prateek Narang. Okay, I am Prateek Bhaiya. I am co-founder and mentor at Coding Blocks. Hope you guys enjoyed the session. Okay, so topic is game development. Okay, ऑनलाइन डायनेमिक प्रोग्रामिंग वर्सेस ऑनलाइन कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग. देखो दोनों ही कोर्सेज अच्छे हैं. ठीक है, हाउ टू रीड द वैल्यू फ्रॉम द स्पिन. गुड क्वेश्चन. सो थोड़ा सा बता देता हूँ हाउ टू रीड द वैल्यू फ्रॉम द स्पिन. सो आई वाज वेटिंग समवन टू आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन. तो आपने पूछ लिया तो मैं आपको बता दे रहा हूँ. ठीक है, सो लेट मी ओपन अप फोल्डर जहाँ पे मैंने एक स्टेप और आगे तक का इम्प्लीमेंट कर रखा है. सो स्पिन एंड विन गेम में thanks man, thanks. So let me show you how to read the value. Okay, okay, so what I have done is I have created a list of all the prizes जो मेरे पास हो सकते हैं. So these are the 12 prizes that I have. Okay, and these are the prize names. Okay, so I can just change this configuration to make a different wheel. So एक मैंने ऑब्जेक्ट बना रखा है यहाँ पे. ठीक है, टॉपिक इज गेम डेवलपमेंट. ओके, और मैंने यहाँ पे क्या क्या किया है आपको बता देता हूँ. हाउ टू रीड द वैल्यू. ओके, सो यहाँ पे मैंने इंडेक्स कंप्यूट किया है कौन सा प्राइस विल टर्न अप. सो लेट मी टेल यू, इट्स एक्चुअली प्रीटी इंटरेस्टिंग लॉजिक. ठीक है, सो वंस यू नो द टोटल एंगल, आपके पास टोटल एंगल आ गया. लेट्स से द व्हील विल रोटेट बाय लेट्स से 90 डिग्रीज. ओके, सो 90 डिग्री मीन्स you are going to get the third prize. Okay, 90 by 30, you are going to get the third prize. Okay, but थर्ड कहाँ से थर्ड होगा? सो थर्ड ऐसा होगा, देखो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है यार, जीरो इंडेक्स वाला प्राइस ये है, ठीक है। अगर वो 30 डिग्री रोटेट करता है तो फर्स्ट प्राइस आएगा, फर्स्ट प्राइस विल कम हियर। 60 डिग्री रोटेट करता है तो दिस सेकंड प्राइस विल कम हियर, ठीक है। 90 डिग्री रोटेट करता है तो ये थर्ड प्राइस विल कम हियर, ठीक है। सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज प्राइजेस की नंबरिंग ऐसे हो रखी है 0 1 2 3, बट जो प्राइस आएगा वो पीछे से आएगा, ठीक है। द प्राइस विल कम फ्रॉम द एंटी क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन, बिकॉज ऐसा है ना व्हील। So 30 पे ही आएगा, 60 पे ही आएगा, 90 पे ही आएगा, 120 पे ही आएगा. So somehow you need to map these values with these numbers. Okay. So total prices कितने हैं? 12 minus 1. Okay. Minus 11, मतलब 11 minus, अगर आपका व्हील 90 डिग्री रोटेट किया है तो मैं ऐसा कुछ माइनस कर देता हूँ 90.3, 11 minus 3. So it's like the third price from this direction. Okay. So वो मैंने एरे बना रखा है. So जब भी प्राइस निकलता है तो मैं प्राइस नेम में से उस इंडेक्स को उठा के डिस्प्ले करा देता हूँ, ठीक है। तो मैंने एक फंक्शन और बना रखा है, मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ। तो उसका लाइव प्रीव्यू मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ क्या हो रहा है। वेलकम टू स्पिन एंड विन। सो आई रोटेट इट, आई गेट 35% ऑफ। तो यहाँ पे आ रहा है यू वांट 35% ऑफ। ओके, सो ये चीज आप खुद से भी ट्राई करो इम्प्लीमेंट करने का। इसका कोड का लिंक थोड़ा सा अलग है, मैं आपको लिंक चाहिए तो वो भी दे देता हूँ। cv.lk/codingblocks archives में जाओ, ठीक है, नहीं गिटहब पे कोडिंग ब्लॉक्स आर्काइव्स में। ठीक है, तो आप यहाँ पे भी इसको एक्सेस कर सकते हो। दिस इज द लिंक, ठीक है, मैं चार्ट में डाल देता हूँ। ठीक है, इसमें कंप्लीट कोड है यहाँ पे, इट्स द कंप्लीट कोड है। ओके, आज वाला कोड आई विल पुट इन द फोल्डर। ओके, सो सर्टिफिकेट्स will you will get by tomorrow. Okay, you will get the certificate by yes, participation certificate for the workshop you will get, plus competition में अगर आप अच्छा परफॉर्म करते हो so you will get the certificate. Okay, so you can see कि मैंने थोड़ा सा कोड और लिखा है to display the price to the user. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे correspondingly text update हो रहा है, you want something 3000 credits. एक प्रोजेक्ट और है जो मेरे स्टूडेंट ने कंप्लीट किया है, मैं आपको उसका प्रोजेक्ट भी दिखा देता हूँ। उसने कंपटीशन के लिए बना के भेज दिए, पहली एंट्री मेरे पास आ गई है, ठीक है, तो वो भी मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ। आई थिंक ये क्या नहीं, ये तो आज का है। गाइस इट्स वेबिनार, ठीक है, अभी मेरे पास उसका फोल्डर नहीं पड़ा है, बट या डेफिनेटली यू कैन चेक आउट। तो उसने साउंड्स इंप्लीमेंट किया है और टैप टू स्पिन का बटन इंप्लीमेंट किया है, ठीक है। लिंक फॉर द सर्टिफिकेट मैंने दिया हुआ है, ठीक है। सो cb.lk/certi/spin. Okay, guys, you are welcome. Thank you for joining the session today, and I hope you learned. Okay, so link is visible on the screen. Okay, credits, कौन से credits? What are we supposed to do in project video? So you need to record a video of your screen, what you have built, because I cannot download each of the projects and see. So you need to make a screen capture of this, do a screen capture of your screen and show in the video what you have built. Okay. So you guys will get the certificates by tomorrow. Fill the form tonight. The form will close in next 2 hours. Okay, it's open only till 12. So fill out the certificate form, and the form for the submission is open till 10th. Okay, mentor is me. Okay, so I'm the mentor for the workshop. I hope you know my name. You're welcome, Gorisha, Rajneesh. Thanks a lot. MS is from IIT Delhi. यार stay connected with our campus ambassadors. Workshops होते रहेंगे. Okay. Just how it looks. Yes, Pradeep, you need to give your link for the GitHub repository and the video, how it's functioning. Okay, if there is some music that's playing, add the music. If there is some pop-up you want to add, if there are some lights you want to add. Okay, so अगर coding works के Android app में देखोगे, so they have created some more effects. तो लाइट बड़ी चमक दमक डाल के उन्होंने स्पिन एंड विन बनाया है वेब ऐप में, नहीं ठीक है. सो नेक्स्ट वर्कशॉप आपको कोडिंग ब्लॉक्स इन्फॉर्म कर देगा, ठीक है. सो वर्कशॉप्स होती रहती हैं, हर हफ्ते 2-3 वर्कशॉप्स होती हैं, ठीक है. तो कॉलेज वाइज होती हैं मोस्टली. तो आपके कॉलेज की जब टर्न आएगी तो आपको इन्फॉर्म किया जाएगा. आप अगर अपने कॉलेज में कैंपस एम्बेसडर से कनेक्ट कर सकते हो तो कर लो. अगर आपके कॉलेज में कैंपस एम्बेसडर नहीं है तो आप खुद भी कैंपस एम्बेसडर के लिए अप्लाई कर सकते हो, ठीक है. चलो ओके गाइस, भूख लग रही है, कुछ खा लेते हैं. आप लोग भी डिनर अपना कर लो. एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग. ओके, सो कॉम्पिटिटिव लाइव का अभी कोई प्लान नहीं है क्योंकि ऑनलाइन कोर्स में बहुत सारा कंटेंट है, लाइव में पढ़ाना मुश्किल है. तो ओवर 700 वीडियोस एंड क्वेश्चंस हैं. तो वी आर प्लानिंग कि ऑनलाइन में ही जो सब बेस्ट पॉसिबल सपोर्ट होगा हम आपको देंगे. और आज भी मैंने बहुत सारे अपडेट्स किए हैं कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग ऑनलाइन में और एल्गो प्लस प्लस ऑनलाइन में इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन ऐड किए हैं, ठीक है. और STL में भी कुछ कुछ अपडेट्स किए हैं. तो काफ़ी सारे कोर्सेज पे मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. RL का भी एक नया कोर्स मैंने बना रहा हूँ, मतलब रितेश के साथ. तो वो कोर्स भी हमने वेबसाइट पे डाल दिया है. और जिनको ऐसे छोटे छोटे प्रोजेक्ट्स और बनाने हैं, यू कैन चेक आउट द कोर्स DS इन रियल लाइफ. ओके, सो ये वाला कोर्स आप देख सकते हो, ठीक है. वीडियो रहेगी आज के लिए. अभी जो है डाउट्स क्लियर कर लो अपने नेक्स्ट 2 आवर्स में, देन इट मे गेट डन. ओके, बाय बाय, टेक केयर.